Guys, we are live. Tell me about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Apparently, he's pretty freaking legit, huh?
Well, he is named after a god, a sun god, in case no one's ever heard that before. But yeah, I mean, dude's crushing, right? So now you got to decide. This is where the hard stuff comes in, right? Do you want to try to trade him at his peak, or what might be his peak, or do you hold on to him and go, "This is what I think he is. I think he's a legit wide receiver one." I would search around. I would poke around. I would poke at my other league mates and see how they feel about Amon-Ra, and see if maybe I could get CeeDee Lamb plus for him, just to see.
Yeah, it's funny, Scott. I'll give you your take, but this guy just trolled us on TikTok. He looked back at an old reel where Amon-Ra was part of it, and Shane was like, "Yeah, he's a wide receiver 4, wide receiver 3 at best." He's like, "Ooh, this didn't age well," but hey, It happens, and it's Dynasty. So, Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're always chasing those receivers that can give us the one or more warp, right? The 1.0 warp. If everyone looks at the warp chart in the past, like it really levels off to where a bunch of receivers from, wide receiver 12 to 35, 40, whatever it is, they're somewhere in like the 0.4 to 0.7 range. And I don't want to say they're all the same, but they're all basically from like an average season long standpoint, they're the same. Really the difference between them is like maybe the weekly ceiling or the weekly floor or whatever you want to call it in between. But we're always chasing those guys that are a level above, especially in the past 2 years. And then this year, a lot of the running backs haven't even gotten hurt this year, but the receivers, go look in your leagues right now. I guarantee you that the teams in the top 4 of the standings, or the teams that are 2-0, are like Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill. Like they probably have at least one of those guys, if not 2 of them. And if they are able to even stack them with the quarterbacks, or if they just have one of like Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, that's all you've needed thus far. You can just be getting by with Rex Burkhead and Kareem Hunt in your starting running back slots, and you're like, cool. They gave me 19 points this week. Sweet. I crushed you because I had 3 receivers that scored 30. Yep. So really, if you can hit on those guys before you have to pay the price, that's where it gets tricky. I think you can easily go out there and pay the price for Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp, like Jefferson, Chase. Those are a little harder to pay for. But I think if you really want to pay up, you could go buy Diggs, Kupp, and probably Tyreek and Devontae Adams for the price you'd be uncomfortable paying, right?
Yeah, right.
So the question is, if Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of those guys, you can probably pay a similar price right now and lock in maybe you're not going to get it for 5 more years in a row, but you might get it for 2 or 3 of the next 5 years, right? If everything kind of stays similar with his quarterback situation or his offense or his coach or whatever it might be. So I think that's the rub that you have to determine, like, is that something I want to do? I mean, I'm looking at the DLF trade finder at some trades that have gone down in the last day.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin and Keenan Allen for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Good Lord. Are you serious?
No, I think most people would go Chris Godwin for Amon-Ra. They'd probably take Amon-Ra. Yeah. But you throw in Keenan Allen and you can easily see what is the bet on that trade? Well, if Chris Godwin and Amon-Ra are both kind of similar for the next 3 or 4 years, you got a free Keenan Allen, which what's that worth? I don't know. But that's the type of deal you have to make. The other thing that we've talked a lot about over the last couple of days is he is now clearly worth a 23 first plus. The question is, because I've sent out some trades trying to buy Kupp, Diggs, Tyreek, and I think the going price is I have to give up a guy like Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Marquise Brown, plus the 23 first to get to Amon-Ra or to get to Tyreek or Diggs or Kupp. And I think there's a trade-off there based on the age. But I think that's the price to buy one of these guys. Same with Drake London, which is weird. We're not even talking Drake London. But I think if you want to buy one of these like top 8 receivers, that's the price. And I just can't wrap my head around sending, Marquise Brown and a 23 first for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I just feels like bad process. But if you think if you think he's the guy, that's the price. And are you guys willing to do it? That's where I'll leave it.
So I'll throw this trade up here. This was that I had in the hopper. 12-team Superflex, half PPR, start 9, contender. This guy gave Michael Pittman and Spiller and got Amon-Ra St. Brown. So Pittman, Amon-Ra, obviously if Pittman's healthy, are they the same tier now?
I think Amon-Ra's higher.
A little higher?
Shane's muted, so we wouldn't know what his take is.
No, that's definitely
Shane's fan. It sounds like if you've got one of those Vornado, if you
off.
have one of those Vornado fans at home, wind tunnel style.
I turned it off. I'll sweat to death for the Dynasty 12 community because I love them. Dynasty trades and 5 community. Amon-Ra is clearly ahead of Michael Pittman and Isaiah Spiller, CJ Spiller. All the Spillers aren't making up that. CJ, that's the classic. Here, I'm just giving you something else because I think you probably think these guys are the same and they're not. So here's Isaiah Spiller. I got to take Amon-Ra there.
Yep. Everybody meet my kid Alex, who doesn't want to go to sleep right now. Say hi, Alex.
Go to bed, Alex.
Alex, how many threshold receivers do you need per roster when it's a start 10?
Alex said he'd give a late 23 first for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Alex, have you heard about Manscaped?
Yeah, he's going to stick around for the Manscaped read. All right, let's go to the comments here. Do you guys have some starred? Or we can start getting them started. Here's Jeff Price. It's an inbox trade. So 12-team Superflex PPR, start 10, and this is a rebuild. Give DK, get Sky Moore, 2024 first, 2023 third. Already have 324 first if it matters. What do you think?
I mean, these are 2 of Shane's 18 children in Dynasty, so I'll let him go first.
I mean, I'm fine with it. It doesn't really excite me either way, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, you get a first, and you get Sky Moore, who has played on 0% of negative offensive snaps so far this year. But I'm fine with it. It's a rebuild. You get a bunch of 24 first. Maybe you can trade a couple of those for a 23 first when the time comes. So I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think we are at a point now where DK Metcalf and DJ Moore are in the boat of how much more time are we going to wait for their situations to flip to the right side of good. They are really all you need for those guys is to get a, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Juju type situation where their quarterback just is, one of the top 10, top 15 quarterbacks in the league. So, I mean, we had it with Russ, with DK before, and now you're basically praying that it gets back to that level. I don't know, man. I can get behind this. I know Shane's higher on DK than me, but I think just pure process-wise, if he is going to flatline in value over the next 18 months, you almost want to get rid of him and just know that he can probably send off one of those 24 firsts and a second in 12 months and potentially get him right back, especially if things just continue to level off how they are. And I'm done at this point defending DJ Moore is an elite player. Look at his splits. It says he's this good. DK Metcalf, man, if he was just on the Packers, look how good he would be. It's like the reality is we have to assess if we talk about 1 to 2 year windows, why the hell are we buying into guys where, if the Seattle Seahawks don't get rid of Pete Carroll, you're telling me you want to bet on DK Metcalf's situation getting better next year?
No, I'm done. I'm done.
He's facing 2 years of just, laying on a floor playing dead. You know what I mean? And he's good, but I don't have time for that. So yeah, trade him away.
Okay, so let's go to Christian Lewis here. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. So dealt Judy for Hollywood and a 23 second. It's a 10-team super flex. Asking for his thoughts. Also dealt Javonte and Malik Willis for Fields and a 23 first. And Christian's rebuilding. What do you think?
I mean, I like the Hollywood in a second, getting that for Judy. I do that every day of the week. You like that deal too, Alex? Yeah, definitely Hollywood and the pick. Yeah, we like that.
His dad loves Jerry Judy. They got a Jerry Judy jersey somewhere in that house.
Yeah, but the Javonte and Malik Willis for Fields on the 23 first, I'm also good with. Like I know Fields has struggled badly the first 2 weeks, but I'm still more than okay with this.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I'm with Shane. I think if you put the second on either side of Hollywood and Judy, I wouldn't have any qualms on what side you got. I like the side with the second. I think we're in agreement there. The other one is interesting to me. The other one is very interesting to me. Let me pose this question to you guys. If the Titans start out 0-7, they bench Ryan Tannehill, Malik Willis starts, and they don't draft a quarterback, and Justin Fields continues on this route that he's going right now, who would you rather have next June, Justin Fields or Malik Willis?
Well, here's the thing. Malik Willis took off on 4 rushing attempts on 11 dropbacks last week, and he looked awful, just absolutely awful. So there's a better chance that they both look bad going into the next year, to be quite frank. Now, if the situation plays out quite exactly the way you say it, well, then I'm going to be jumping on to Willis's bandwagon because, again, I was starting to jump on that bandwagon in the preseason. So that's the way I would go.
Yeah, I think I just look at Justin Fields has looked bad basically his entire career. He had a window of 3 or 4 games where he was good for fantasy last year, but no fantasy production. Go look at his actual NFL production. It wasn't great fantasy production, but I'm just saying I think when Malik Willis is one of those interesting cases right now where I think you can still buy because of what Shane said. He's not a starter. He's not ever guaranteed to get a shot. We agree with that, right? His shot might be 4 games, and then they're like, yeah, he's not any good. We're going to draft somebody because we're so bad. That's in the range of outcomes. But that's how it was with Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And down the stretch, Jalen Hurts wasn't playing. They finally put him in, but we still kind of looked at it there's no way he's actually the future. They're going to go right back to Wentz the next year. So I just feel
there's a narrative where he could be worth 3 firsts. You could see it, right? Close your eyes and you could see Malik Willis being worth 3 firsts.
For sure. And I think it's just, you can go buy as many shares right now on Malik Willis as you want if you offer what's in that uncomfortable range. I see people saying, I can buy Malik Willis for a second. No, you can't. Anybody that with a brain would not sell him for less than multiple seconds because they probably invested a single second. Why the hell would they sell for a second right now? So it's if you went to somebody and said, I'll give you a 24 first for Malik Willis, though, they're at least thinking okay, I bought for the 205 or whatever, and I'm getting the first. But then if you go with a 24 first and a third, I think you can get him, and it's all risk. But I'm just curious if that's something you guys would proactively do. Because as soon as he starts, he's worth a 23 first. He's going to be compared to the quarterbacks in next year's class right away. So
I got to be honest with you. Even if he starts, I can't see myself being willingly giving up a 23 first. I wouldn't do it. And look, I'm a guy that bet against Jalen Hurts, right, and went out and paid for him this year. But here's the thing: I still was able to buy him back at a relatively cheap cost compared to what his production was last year and what it could be this year. I think you're going to see the same narrative about Willis. It's going to be, yeah, but he only completed 60% of his passes. It's going to be the same thing as Jalen Hurts. I think you're still going to be able to get him at a relative discount. I'd rather than spending the first, I just let him go do what he does, and then I'll buy him later if I need to.
Yep. Greg, thank you for the super chat, and Christian, thank you for yours. Thanks for the roster reviews. You are welcome. I think he came to us with 3 of them, right?
At least
he can't get enough of Shane and Scott. That's for sure.
Hey, just you got a trade in your inbox, Clay.
I've got a trade in my inbox. Ooh. Here, do this, Shane. Type it into the comments, and then we'll throw it up. In the meantime, let's go to another question here. All right. From Benny, thank you. 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Wentz 23 third and 23 third, a late 23 second. Okay, can you translate this? I'm under caffeinated here.
12-team Super Wentz in a 23 third late or 223 seconds.
Or 223 seconds early mid. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so Wentz late third, 223 seconds early to mid. Which side are you taking?
Well, I mean, Wentz is the top 5 quarterback for fantasy right now.
Yeah, it's
But
so nuts.
But he also didn't start off bad the last 2 seasons. And by the end of the year, both teams that he was on wanted him the hell out of the building. So I think it's one of those. I'm already starting to hear and you're a Washington fan, Clay. I'm already starting to hear, oh, well, Wentz isn't the problem. I think they have their answer for the next couple years. And I'm like,
no.
Well,
I vomited when I saw the news that they had signed Wentz. I was sick to my stomach. Whatever.
But that's the thing, and I think that he is one of those guys where I don't want to say you should sell him high because I don't think you need to sell him right now, but let him kind of ride this. Hey, he's good for fantasy because Wentz has always been good for fantasy.
Yep.
Last year he was god awful, but he was quarterback 15. He's had multiple years where he's a top 18 fantasy quarterback. He had 1 year where he's top 12. So like his problem has never been he can't get fantasy points.
It's health.
But you're never going to get any sort of job security with him. And I just don't know if he flames out with Washington, how many other teams in the league are going to give him a shot, you know?
Yep.
I can get second.
So which side are you taking on that? I accidentally just hit it. Which side? You taking 2 seconds?
I think you look at the seconds as this is one of those where it's a fair price. You're not getting him for anything less than this. Can I do anything else with those seconds? Right? Can I buy Jared Goff for one of those seconds and bank the other one and wait for 2 months and use it on a running back down the stretch? Does that really change the dynamic on my team? I don't know. That's what you have to weigh.
No, I'll take Wentz here. Look, at some point you got to start spending these picks on stuff, right? This is why we accrue these picks, not just so they look pretty, not because we want to make 87 rookie picks, because I don't. I want to take shots here. Look, 2 seconds for a starting quarterback is really cheap. 2 seconds for a guy that's been top 5 quarterback 2 weeks in a row, really cheap. And obviously he's really cheap because everyone hates him, including his family. Just from what I've heard.
But so here's the thing, though. Let's say you have Russell Wilson and Derek Carr. Okay, you making that trade right now?
Yes, because he's smashing both of those guys.
Right, but why? So you are trading for Carson Wentz and you're putting him in the lineup over one of those guys this week?
Yes, I'd put him over in the lineup until Russell Wilson can break 12 fantasy points.
Okay, that's where we dynasty different, because I'm looking at it going, why would I make that move in week 3 when there's a very good chance that by week 9 everybody is going to hate this guy?
Yeah, and that's fine. And look, that's definitely in the range of outcomes, but it's also in the range of outcomes that he's a top 10 quarterback the rest of the year, and I'm paying 2 seconds for it. So you know what? If I get 4 weeks out of them and those 2 seconds end up getting wasted, they get wasted. I'm getting more picks. I'm good at trading. I'll get more.
All right, we got to. By the way, everybody in the audience, we have a hard stop at 10. Scott's got a draft, so we are off at 10. Unfortunately, we can't do an hour and a half session with you, so we're going to try to speed this up a little bit, guys. Garrett Wilson's value in PPR Superflex. I own him, and I'm getting a lot of fire trade talks. What do you think? Are you giving up a projected mid 23 first for him?
Am I?
Yeah.
Not
give
this
up a
week.
late first.
Yeah, I'll give up a late, but you know what? I'll wait because he's a rookie. He's going to have peaks and valleys, and he's also, what do you call that thing? A wide receiver. He's going to have some peaks or low or high valleys. He's going to have valleys. He's going to have valleys at some point. Let me just go try to get him then.
You're going to try to time the valleys. You're going to time the valley market.
Valley market. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just to add to that a little bit, this is one of those where the 23 picks are basically the reason why we tried to accrue them over the last 2 years has been to find spots during this year where you can use them, basically. So like my threshold of what I would be willing to spend 23 firsts on has really widened, which is fine. That was the whole point of getting them. It wasn't so I'm going to just want to make every one of those picks, right? So people may be shocked that we're like, oh, we'll send a late 23 first, but no. And honestly, I don't think you don't get him for a late 23 first. That's the thing. People that have him and if they have half a brain, they go, oh wow, I'm going to take the wide receiver 4 next year at the 110. Why the hell would I trade you Garrett Wilson? Yeah, it's not going to work.
Yep. Jerome, thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. 10-team Superflex, half PPR, start 10, gave Dameon Pierce and Darnell Mooney, got DK Metcalf. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't think Dameon Pierce is good at football. And Darnell Mooney, apparently the Bears are trying to go back to a wing T offense and see if they can throw the ball no times. So I like this. I feel like this is buying low on DK Metcalf, even in a half PPR.
I like it. Look at Scott on mute this time.
DK scored more in one game than those guys have scored the entire year. So,
and he's been terrible this year, right? So
I mean, he's just getting empty volume, but yeah, right. I mean that you basically gave up nothing.
Yeah, great trade there, and appreciate that super chat. Okay, let's go to the live comments here. Let's go all the way up to the top. Our friends who got in here early. All right, we got another inbox trade here. Okay, 14-team, 1 QB, PPR, currently rebuilding. I have 623 firsts. Should I trade Aiyuk and a mid-23 first for Drake London? Wide receivers of value are Lamb, Amon-Ra, Aiyuk, Burks, and Tony. So were you giving Aiyuk and a mid-23 first for Drake London?
Yes.
Ooh. It's 1 QB, 14-team, 1 QB. Yeah. If that's a 108 and a 1 QB, then, I mean, we don't know how many starters, but yeah, I think that's one of those frisky deals you can make now and feel okay about it. I'd rather give Kadarius Tony in like a second, but yeah, good luck with that.
Jack, hit the accept in your inbox there. Thank you for the question. Let's go to another one here. 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Give Pat Freiermuth, Drake London, and Elijah Mitchell. Get Dameon Pierce, Jarvis Landry, and Mark Andrews.
No.
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't. Yeah.
Look,
I mean, you can argue in a PPR that Andrews and London are similar, but if you just take those two and wash them out, I'd much rather have Pat Freiermuth and Elijah Mitchell than Dameon Pierce and Jarvis Landry. So yeah, give me the give side all day.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to let me find another question here. This is one that was in the hopper. What are your thoughts on flipping young, underperforming running backs for older stud RBs on contending rosters? So trading like Najee or Javonte Williams for Eckler or CMC. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
All right. Well, I trade Najee straight up for either of those dudes. It's going to be dependent upon the player. I'm not flipping Javonte. Javonte's looked really good when he's touched the ball. Give him another 3 points per game if he doesn't, try to shot put the football through the end zone 2 weeks ago. So Javonte's fine. Najee, we thought was bad, and we thought his production was based on volume, and his volume's actually decreased. So is his snap share. So this is like the worst of all worlds. So I'm fine with flipping Najee for CMC. Only thing is Eckler is kind of underperforming too, and they're not giving him red zone carries, which is why he smashed last year. So I'm completely fine with trading an underperforming running back. But you got to be specific. Najee and Javonte are not the same.
Yeah, and I think the major issue is, like Shane said, like Eckler and McCaffrey are also not like well above replacement right now either. They're okay. I think they're both averaging around like 15.5 points per game or so. Maybe McCaffrey's a little higher, but it's not like one of these guys is like, 22, 23 points per game, and they look like they're going to have one of those like really, really high end seasons. So I think I'm probably okay with doing it if it's Najee. But even then, I mean, is that the best deal? Is Austin Eckler the best thing you can get for Najee? Probably. Honestly, nobody really wants him. But
yeah,
Javonte, no way.
Yeah. We got 167 eyeballs in here. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate it. Happy Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah.
Shane, you're the like police. What do we got going on likewise?
Look, I'm not great with math, but I'm going to say there's less than a third of the people have liked us.
Ooh.
Wait, no, that would be 6 times 3, 180. So slightly more than a third of the people watching have actually done this.
Well, I haven't even liked it, so let me go in there and like it while we're live. It gives us another like.
Yes, we should. Okay, let's go to another one here. 12-team Superflex PPR start 11. Give Garrett Wilson, Dameon Pierce, James Cook. Get DJ Moore, J.K. Dobbins, and Jamal Williams.
No,
Yeah, I don't have that problem with this.
I do.
So you would take Garrett Wilson over DJ Moore easily?
Yeah. I've seen more upside out of Garrett Wilson in one game than I've seen in DJ Moore's entire career. And I love DJ Moore.
That's
yeah, you're right. There was a game last year where DJ Moore smashed, and I got all cocky, and I was like, finally, it's all happening.
Yeah. Was it week 1?
Yeah, and then he came out the next week and did his customary 4 targets for 4 receptions for 40 yards and no touchdowns on 6 targets. So, yeah.
I mean, I think we have to pump the brakes a little bit on a guy like Garrett Wilson, because even if he hits and he's very good, he's still on the Jets. There's no guarantee that he's going to score more than, DJ Moore for his career is like 15.8 points per game or something like that. There's no guarantee that Garrett Wilson is just clearly above that. So I think it comes down to, even if you just wash those guys out, are you giving up Dameon Pierce and James Cook for J.K. Dobbins and Jamal Williams? That's where Shane and I probably see it different, because he loves James Cook. And
well, even without that, I don't. J.K. Dobbins, first of all, what has he done? He had one stretch in the NFL when he was hyper efficient scoring touchdowns, right? He's on an offense where he's going to have to share the ball for some reason with Kenyon Drake, and he's never going to get the propriety. That's not the word I was looking for. The majority of rushing attempts in the red zone, because guess what? His quarterback's better at it than probably half the running backs in the league, including him.
Yeah.
And with Garrett Wilson, even if I don't think he's better than DJ Moore, I know the community does. I bet you I could turn around and turn Garrett Wilson into something more. Like, again, we were just talking about a 23 first. I can't find anyone that's going to give me a 23 first for DJ Moore. I could for Garrett Wilson.
I don't know about that. But let's say they say Dobbins is going to be a full go this weekend and he's starting. You don't think he's the best flip piece in that of those 4 running backs? Easily.
Of the running backs? Yeah, except if Dameon Pierce goes out there and sees 100% of the opportunity share like he did this week. Rexburg had 2 targets or whatever he did.
It's a fair deal. I think you could talk yourself into either side, but I see where you're coming from. You want the one piece that you think you'd be able to flip again, because that's just how you operate. I get it.
Guys, we need to talk about Tua. What are your thoughts? I live here just outside of Baltimore and was like, "Ooh, the Ravens are running away with this one," and then the Dolphins came back, and Tua threw up a 6-burger on us. What are your thoughts on Tua? Is he the real deal? Or is he?
No.
You hate Tua, Shane.
Look, the guy had
high opportunity. You selling for a mid 23 first? No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably ask for another piece there, because I'll go, dude, did you just see what he did? He just threw 6 touchdowns. There's no reason in the world that he's not going to throw for 340 yards to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle every week. So what? That's only happened in 3 times in the history of the NFL where 2 receivers on the same team have done that. Tua is going to do it every week. I'm going to talk that shit, but I'll take a first plus.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think we were critical of Tua on this channel over the summer. I think all of us kind of were like, we don't really believe in him. But, I mean, all he has to do is basically do what he's been doing. And I have to say I'm impressed with the way that they've come in. Everyone, and I was guilty of this, everyone was guilty of like, oh, this is going to look a lot like the San Francisco offense. They're not going to throw it a lot. They're going to run a ton. They're going to try to limit Tua. And it's like they've done the opposite. It's like, hey, we got him these weapons. Let's cater to the strength that we have. And how many teams out there are we seeing where it's like, hey, we have new weapons and new personnel, but we're trying just to run the same offense that we did with totally different players. So I think if you buy into the coach and you buy into the fact that like they're going to do everything they can to support Tua, does that mean in 3 years he's going to be still a top 15 quarterback? I can't say that for sure, but I don't know if I just blanket sell for a single mid 23 first, I don't know about that, but I know people might. Like, I mean, I can see where Shane is saying that, I don't buy what he's doing. And, a year from now, we could be looking at them looking for an upgrade at quarterback. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I have to say I'm kind of buying in a little bit.
He's got the weapons. Okay, so let's see here. Thanks for the roster review, guys. You are welcome. Shane and Scott crush it, no doubt. Well worth it. 12-team, start 10. late 23 first and Hawkinson or Mark Andrews. What do you think?
No premium, I assume.
Yeah,
Listen, I actually don't. I don't hate the. I don't normally in no
fine with
downside in
Andrews.
premium. Yeah, I'd say I don't like this in the past, but I've kind of changed the tune. If you can get what Mark Andrews is doing is he's basically on pace to be like he's the next Travis Kelce. Now, Lamar Jackson might not be Patrick Mahomes, but if he's anywhere close and they stay together for the next 5 years, I mean, what do you have in TJ Hawkinson that you can't get with Dalton Schultz and Dawson Knox and Mike Gesicki? And it's like you're just praying for 12 points instead of 6, you know? So I think I do it. Late 23 first, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'm fine with this. TJ Hawkinson's basically like Scott said. He's in that realm of like just a dude. Like there's going to be weeks that he could definitely hit, but Mark Andrews is, if not the tight end 1 at worst, the tight end 2.
Okay, let's put this one up there. Christian Kirk, is he a wide receiver too?
Yes.
Value-wise, no.
I know he's value-wise, he's just not going to get the respect ever.
But he's another one of these guys where if you say he's wide receiver 35 in value and he's wide receiver 20 in production, then
you just hold him and enjoy the points.
That or
you buy him cheap.
and here's the biggest problem, and this is why I constantly talk about the idea of the threshold receivers and just having a mix of them on your roster. Because literally Garrett Wilson is worth more than DJ Moore right now. And Christian Kirk is worth double what Jerry Jeudy and Juju Smith-Schuster are worth. But like that could flip next week. And none of them have changed in situations or as players or profiles or their ability to earn targets. You just want to have as many of these guys as you can within the threshold and have exposure to all of them.
Right.
So I mean, that's all. That's about as simple as I can make it, because we get so caught up in, is the wide receiver 20 versus the wide receiver 30 and who's worth more. Yet tomorrow, if one of them has a 25-point game and one of them has a 9-point game, are you really changing their dynasty value? Shane might. Shane just looks down the points per game from last week and goes, "Shit, that's my order." Right, Shane?
Look he's got a 25% target share, which is the bare minimum we want for an elite target share, right? He's a good wide receiver. So an elite target share with a good low elite level targets and a good wide receiver, that's a wide receiver too. I mean, I don't see, there's no reason to move him. I'd move him if someone values him higher than that, obviously, and then churn him for like you said, like, all right, well then Judy's going to do the same thing some of these weeks too, assuming his ribs get better.
Well, it's interesting because you know who has a 29% target share on the year? Brandon Cooks, and Amari Cooper is at 28%. So I'm not saying, but nobody wants either of those guys. But they want 25 to 26-year-old Christian Kirk.
Well, that one, because Christian Kirk is 25, right? We have a history of Amari Cooper showing that he's nothing more than a wide receiver too. And look, I was one of those people.
We have that on Christian Kirk. Amari Cooper's career target share is like 20%, but he's at 29 this year.
And he's 30 years old, and he's done it.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
30 years old.
He's been in the league for 7-8 years.
He might as well be 80 because he's already.
It doesn't matter. He's consistently shown that he's not special. He's consistently shown. Kirk, right? He did not ball out in what do you call that place? Arizona. He did have his best season of his career last year, NFL numbers wise, right? We thought we would see an uptick when he got to Jacksonville and they overpaid him. And it looks like that's what happened. Now, if Amari Cooper was there, you know what Amari Cooper would have done? Because this is who he is. He'd have a 21% target share, and he would have done exactly what he did this season, except he might have switched weeks. He would have been completely, what's that word I'm looking for? Disappeared week 1 and then showed up week 2, because that's who Amari Cooper is. At least Christian Kirk, there's at least the allure of, okay, he could not be Amari Cooper. Now, Brandon Cooks is a whole different subject, because Brandon Cooks is just criminally underrated for the entirety of his career, and you should always buy Brandon Cooks.
He gets traded for seconds multiple times every year.
There's another guy I found that actually has a higher career market share than Christian Kirk, and he's actually younger than Christian Kirk, but nobody wants him. His name's Jacoby Myers.
Yes, because he can't do shit with his targets. He's a middling.
I'm just pointing out the flaws of. I'm pointing out the flaws of the market share argument, which I love market share, but you can paint the picture of, Christian Kirk's target share is great, but so are these other guys, but everyone thinks they suck,
Well, and partly because some of these guys have shown that they're not very good. I don't want to
like Christian Kirk.
No,
and Jacoby Myers. Myers has had a better career.
No, he hasn't.
Go look up the numbers. Christian Kirk's never had a 90 catch season before this.
We were talking about empty targets, or did we talk about empty targets? Neither is Jacoby Myers. He had 83 receptions on 126 targets. Jesus Christ. And you know what his fantasy points were? You want to know what he scored on 126 targets?
Like 11 points per game.
11 points a game. I would score 15 points on that target share. I'm just saying. And I smoke. And I'd smoke on the field and still smash Jacoby Myers.
Here's the... Do you have more to say about Jacoby Myers?
No, it's not as I like Christian Kirk. It's just hilarious that if we re-rank the receivers in any given week, people are literally going to look at like market share, yards per route run, and how did they finish this past week or the last 2 weeks. And that's it. There's like no other evaluation. I mean, I've seen it with, and maybe this is where maybe I'm developing as a dynasty player. Like we're already putting Garrett Wilson in the fucking top 15 of dynasty receivers after one game. And I know all the peripherals are good, but it's like that reactionary. Maybe it's just a little more than I expected. That's all.
I mean, part of that though is that we what's the word I'm looking for? We respond to what the market is saying, right?
Agreed.
And that's what we do, because me and you can hold on to whatever belief we have, right? I can hold on to the belief that CeeDee Lamb is still a wide receiver 1. But if the market doesn't believe me, well, it doesn't matter if they don't agree with me. I could say Garrett Wilson isn't a wide receiver 1 or a top 15 wide receiver. Guess what? The market's saying, well, that's what you got to pay to get him. So I'm not going to be able to get him if I don't pay that.
First name, Scott, what are the players, all caps? I guess he wanted to be seen here. What are the players you would burn a mid to late 23 first on? Mentioned it earlier, and now I'm curious.
I mean, we don't have time to make this a 10-minute segment just to go down line by line. But I think, okay, here's what I would say. I think that if your roster construction is spot on, I am fine burning a mid to late 23 first on any running back that you think can give you 16 or more points per game. You're probably not going to buy Saquon Barkley for a single mid to late first, right? Probably not.
So Mixon, if
you said I want to buy Eckler, Dalvin Cook, Mixon, Nick Chubb, and you wanted to throw a mid to late first, what the mistakes that I see when people ask me questions are, let me go buy Nick Chubb. All the guy wants is a 23 first and a 24 first. And I go, okay, well, who are your running backs? They go, well, I only have Javonte, Mixon, and Damian Harris. Well, why the hell are you spending your 2 firsts on another running back in week 3? Like that. Yeah. But if you have no running backs, like I have a team that's 2-0, first in the league in points. We've been starting Travis Etienne and Rex Burkhead. Now that would be the team where I could go, you know what? There's going to be one shot where I can go buy a running back. But that's by design. There's just a lot of people that get so concerned. We see it in the roster reviews, Shane. Yeah. They have 3 top 20 running backs, and they go, I'm scared about my running back depth. You know what I mean? It's like that's where I'm hesitant to say go buy any of these guys, because then people will start spamming their firsts and getting Alvin Kamara, and it's like, did you really need to make that move in week 3? Whereas the receivers, I think, are all – you buy Garrett Wilson, you buy Treylon Burks, and that's more of a long-term play, like you're buying that because you're comfortable with the asset is for next offseason too. So I think they're different types, but it's definitely widened. There's probably about 50 players I would spend first on now at this point. So sorry, Shane, I hijacked the whole topic, but I guess
No. Well, they asked specifically for your opinion. They don't give a shit about mine.
Here, let me throw this up real quick because we have been mentioning it. Where are they doing roster reviews, by the way, or how do I submit mine to be reviewed? I'll just throw this up quickly. So we do roster reviews. We do charge for them to help keep this channel going. But if you want a roster review, email dynastytradesin5@gmail.com or Twitter DM us at tradesin5. And basically what you'll get is this is what it looks like. Shane and Scott are looking at your roster. I'm gone. Probably should be anyway. I'm underachiever on this show, right? But they review your roster, give you a thorough look at it. Everybody seems to be pleased thus far with what they have. Okay. We will go back here.
No one said that it sucked yet, so that's cool.
No one said that it sucked yet. I've only had to refund like 6 or 7 people behind the scenes. No, I'm kidding. We've only got 5 minutes left. Shane,
No. We've got an extra 15 minutes from Scott because he loves the audience that much.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I talked a lot, so we'll go an extra 15. Let's go 20 more minutes.
Nice. Okay. Let's go fast for another 20 minutes here.
Let's go.
Okay, so
where's our trade? You didn't put my trade up.
Oh,
we got an inbox trade.
There we go. Send Irv Smith, get Khalil Herbert. That's it. Send Irv Smith, get Khalil Herbert.
Done.
12 team, 1 QB.
Done. You traded a roster clogger for a potentially useful player.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. Let me see. I actually had some. I wish we do. Is it Koogski?
Yep.
Yeah.
Koogski?
A Washington State fan.
Okay. Got it. Thank you very much for the super chat. So 12 team, start 11, super flex. The tight end premium is 1.74.
1.74. I like that.
I know. 1.74. The running back. So it must be a tiered PPR. Running backs are 1.25. Give Debo, get Kenny Walker, and a 24 first. It's a rebuild squad. Can't get a 23 first. I have 3 already, and no one else will move them.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Look, I've been on the get the 24 pick train for a while now. When we saw that you couldn't get 23s anymore, and you get Kenny Walker, who, his debut wasn't great, but yeah, he's a second round running back who we was 102 in most rookie drafts. So I like this.
If possible, would you be trying to get a wide receiver though instead of Kenny Walker? If you're in a rebuild,
I just want assets. And quite honestly, if Kenny Walker smashes at any point this year, I could go ahead and trade him if I want to, or if he smashes next year, I can trade him for a wide receiver. So I'm fine there.
And it's 1.25 PPR. So I think if you can flip Kenneth Walker, you can probably maybe get another receiver, and it basically could neutralize Debo, because I think you're kind of, that's like the best deal you'll get on Debo. So yeah, I like it. Nice process deal. Well done, especially start 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a start 11. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, let's pick out another one here. Got some more star guys. All right, 12 team super flex PPR trade. Send Andrews, get Watson, a late first, and Waller.
Yes. Oh
if
my
that's
goodness.
Deshaun Watson, go accept before we even end this stream.
Yeah,
even if it's Christian Watson?
If it's Christian Watson, it's closer, but I'd still do it. I still think Waller's much better than what he showed. Now, if it's Deshaun Watson, obviously it's a smash.
Brett, please confirm. That's
I assume it's Deshaun, but
it's a very different Watson.
Deshaun, like wow, wow.
That's Deshaun. Yeah, you're getting like a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Here's that. We already put that one up. Okay. What is hopefully you guys watched the Trey Lance show, by the way, today. If you didn't, we dropped it. So far, good feedback. Aiyuk dynasty value with Jimmy G the rest of the season. Creeps into dynasty wide receiver 2 range. This is something that we didn't talk about during the show, but we were like, we should talk about the positional players, because we gotta like Jimmy G for this offense, right? What do you think, guys? For Kittle,
his peripherals through 2 weeks don't say he's going to jump into wide receiver 2 range, but I think there's a chance he has many weeks that are in that range, if that makes sense. I don't know if we look up at the end of the year and he is a wide receiver 2, as a producer. His target share is just under 20%, but that is also, 3 halves with Trey Lance too. So if you just kind of take what he did the second half of last year after he got out of the doghouse, I can see it. But I also don't think he's one of those guys where you'd be hesitant to trade him in the trade with a first to get Amon-Ra. like what we talked about at the beginning. Like he's one of the throw-ins if someone else values him, but I like having a lot of exposure to him as well.
Yeah, exactly that. He's going to have his peaks and valleys. And during his peak weeks, you're going to go, oh, this guy's definitely a wide receiver too. And then in his valleys, you're going to be like, wait, he had three yards on one target. You know what I mean? And I think that's just kind of the guy he's going to be. So no, I don't think he's a consistent wide receiver too.
Okay, let's hide that one. I've got one here. What is the price on Mike Williams? I'm afraid of his inconsistency. How should I move him? And then there was someone who chimed in saying, yes, I'm looking to get rid of him as well. What do you think, guys? Obviously, we would take any 23 first for him. He's bye-bye. He is putting up a lot of points, but how would you move him? I know it's kind of broad, but what would you be trying to sell him for? Tear down and just do a process trade?
I mean, I don't know what you're going to tear down to, though. That's the problem. Like, what are you tearing down? Can I trade Mike Williams for Christian Kirk plus? Probably not, because they're probably similarly valued. So that's the problem with it. Can I trade him for a 24 first? Can I give you a second and a 23 second and him and get a 23 first? How about a 23 second and a third and a fourth and Mike Williams and you give me a 24 first? I mean, all those are options. Do I want to pivot to a running back? Can I sell high on him and buy low on Eckler? Same team and all. Do something like that.
Yeah, maybe you tack something onto him and try to get like a Waddle or something like that. Throw a second on top of Mike Williams. What do you think, Scott?
Well, I mean, see, here's where I maybe differ on the opinion versus what the person that asked the question is. Afraid of his kid's consistency. Why? If anything, I want 6 games of what he did last Thursday, and I could care less how many 5-point games that I eat. You know what I mean? Because we just saw what he can do without Keenan Allen, and it's not like he has a lot of competition. And the encouraging thing about the Chargers is they have shown for the second straight year now, when one of Mike Williams or Keenan Allen misses, they have another guy. This year it's Josh Palmer. They literally just put him in the Keenan Allen role. They don't mess with everybody else's role, and they just treat Mike Williams as like, all right, Mike Williams is probably better than Josh Palmer, right? So he's going to clearly garner targets over Josh Palmer when it's just those two. Whereas he's not better at earning targets than Keenan Allen. So I actually would buy into Mike Williams. The problem is I'm not paying the 23 first. But I would pay the 24 first and just say that I have potentially the number one option 30% of the games during the year for the next 2 or 3 years, because he's tied to Herbert for 2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But he's also like career market share under 20%. I think it's like less than 18%, and he's at 17.6 this year. So he's never going to be like the alpha. There's always going to be somebody there to kind of push him around a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. He's never going to be a legit wide receiver 1. I know he was the wide receiver 7 through like half a season last year, and then he was the wide receiver, I think 12 or 13 overall. But he's just not going to ever be the first option of that offense. It's just not going to happen.
Elijah, hey guys, love the show. I posted the trade above.
Oh, I started. There it is.
Alrighty, so it's 12 team. Thank you very much, Elijah. 12 team Superflex, start 10 PPR, 6-point passing touchdown, 1.5 tight end premium. Got Jefferson, gave Amon-Ra St. Brown a 23 first, a 24 first, and a 24 second. Made this deal after week 1 and not feeling great now. Thoughts?
I'd still be touching myself over this deal. What are you talking about? I definitely feel great about this. You just got the wide receiver 1, you know, even though he just got shut down by Big Game Slay. Don't take that personally. He's just the best cornerback in the league. That's going to happen sometimes. And plus, it was a primetime game, and we know how Kirk Cousins likes to perform in those. So, no, you did fine. That 24 first, like, look, it's a first, yes. You can get that back. You got time. And a 23 first and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Dude, that's a good deal. You did good. You done well.
You did good, kid. What do you think?
I'm not going to rain on your parade, but all show we've talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown being worth 1.5 firsts, and he got a 23 first, and he got a 24 first. It's a fair trade. It's not a, oh my gosh, you took that other player to the cleaners. You know what I mean? It's a fair trade. I can see deals like this going down where someone trades off of Jefferson or Chase and gets Garrett Wilson in this same trade, or
Right.
Drake London in this same trade, and they feel okay with it. They don't need, those guys to be Justin Jefferson to feel okay with it. But if they can be 85, 90% of it, they'll be okay with it. So I think it's a fair trade. I would not feel bad about it, Elijah, but obviously if Amon-Ra would have gone out and, had 8 points, you'd have been like, oh, that was a terrible trade for the other guy. Look what he gave me Jefferson for. So I'm still good.
Yep. Connor, thank you very much for the super chat. 16 team Superflex PPR start 8 inbox offer. Give Mike Williams and Eno Benjamin. Get David Montgomery and a late 23 first. Competing roster. Thoughts?
16 teams
Start
times
8.
That gives you 149. Yeah, no, give me Montgomery in the first.
Well, first of all, let me
16 times 8 is 149 according to Shane.
let me give him props for how he spells his first name. Spot on.
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those where on paper you're like, oh, smash the Montgomery in the first. But then when you realize that first could be the 203 equivalent in a lot of drafts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to set your lineup and you go, okay, it's probably like just based on what I need, a running back or a receiver. Now, you probably need the running back more in the 16-teamer, I would guess. But this is closer. Let me just say the optics of the trade make it seem like it's a smash, but it's a lot closer based on the fact that it's a 16-teamer. The only caveat is, can I go fool somebody else with that 16-team first-round pick and say, oh, hey, I got a 23 first. Who wants to sell me, Christian Kirk for it? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you did Christian Kirk and David Montgomery for Mike Williams, and you're like, well, that's a smash. So you got to sell that first, though. You got to sell the first.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's what I was thinking is, look, I don't care. It's a 16 team. That first, until the draft order is determined, it's a first. It just a first. It's magical. It could be anything, So that's the story I'm telling.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Connor. Randy, you're next. Appreciate it, man. 12 teams, start 10, 2 QB, super flex. Traded a mid 24 second for Devin Duvernay. What do you think?
You did bad on this one, unfortunately.
Traded a 24 second.
You're not giving any second. Would you give a 28 second for Devin Duvernay if you could?
No. I'd wait till he has a game where he either misses next week because he had a concussion or he has 4 points. Then you offer 2/4.
Would you give a 23 third for him?
No.
No, I could get a running back with that.
I'd rather
give me a start.
I'd rather buy a spot starter at quarterback or a running back. I'm not a receiver.
Look, I never know when I could stick Devin Duvernay in my lineup. There'd never be a time in my life where I'd go, next game,
you chase his kickoff return for a touchdown, and then he gives you 2 points.
Yeah. No,
and then you cut him because you're so pissed.
So what's good, though, Randy, is a couple things. 2024 is a long way away, and we play Dynasty, and we are trade machines. So just make another trade and smash on the next one. So no sweat.
See if you can immediately trade him in a third for a second and just call it a day.
It's a wrap. Yeah.
It's like you had a couple quarters in your pocket and you lost them. You just chalk it up as you write off those losses. You gave up a third. Yep.
Here's a good one. Do we still feel good about Breece?
I'll say this. I feel fine about Breece. I'm already at the point of Breece's career where I'm yelling at his head coach for being a stupid, juiced up musclehead, and thinking that it's a good idea to put Ty Johnson on the field ever over Breece Hall, let alone Michael freaking Carter. But I'm also going to pull my cool off a little bit. Remember JT's rookie season? We had these same concerns, like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Why are they doing? And this is kind of just the normal progression of what they do to rookie running backs for the most part. Like, they don't just throw them out there unless you're Ezekiel Elliott and you get all the work and all the snaps. You know what I mean? And as much as I hate Michael Carter, he's a useful NFL player. Yeah. So there's, they're going to use him. So I'm not concerned about Breece. If anyone in your league is concerned about Breece, go trade for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll just say this. I think we are coming up to a fascinating period in Dynasty. when we're going to have these 23 running backs. Because if you really dive into his Breece Hall's usage, I know it's only been 2 games. It's going to be very difficult unless he is just a generational talent to ever hit the true difference-making range. And just you have to determine how much do you value. If you're going to get 4 straight years of Breece Hall between 15 and 18 points, how much do you value that? You value it a lot when you can get it with a rookie pick. Do you value it as much when someone's dangling 223 firsts in front of you? I don't know.
Yep.
But I think a lot of running backs fit into that mold. So
how about Breece Hall or Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 23-second?
Breece Hall. Scott. The answer is Breece Hall.
Shane, with what people are trading for Amon-Ra, I can turn around and trade Amon-Ra for 2 firsts. And I just got more than the 2 firsts.
I know there's some folks in this chat that are in leagues with me. Just by the law of averages, that has to be true. If you have Breece Hall in any of those leagues, and I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, send me that offer, Amon. I'll give you Amon in the second and give me Breece Hall.
You'll even tack on a couple thirds, probably.
Just all the thirds are yours.
Give you some fab, sweeten it up. Okay, what's the next one here? Got Deontay and a late 23 first for AJB. Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Yeah. That'll work. Clue 10123. Thank you very much for the super chat, Clue. 1.75 tight end premium, super flex, PPR, start 11. I got Dak, Debo, and Geno Smith. Gave Stafford, TJ Hawkinson, Curtis Samuel a 24 first and a 23 third. So got Dak, Debo, and Geno Smith. Gave Stafford, TJ Hawkinson, Curtis Samuel a 24 first, 23 third. What do you think?
I'm trying to digest. This is a lot going on.
Well, let's start here. What's the difference between Dak and Stafford? Is it a 24 first, Shane?
I think we can. No, I mean, we could maybe
wash
Shane that out to be easier.
He just says Dak is a rich man's Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, and Matt Stafford, basically.
Yeah, I think, like Dak is kind of, with this latest injury, is kind of like regressed back into that, like, hey, it's Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, or Matt Stafford. Like, who am I? Guess which one I am, because I'm the same dude.
Okay, so Hawk and a first or Debo Samuel.
Well, 1.75 tight end premium and a 24 first, man. I'd probably
I'm still on the Stafford side.
I'll still lean Debo there. It's close. It's not. This isn't one of those trades that I could be like, I don't know. I honestly
don't love either.
Can you flip Geno? Can you flip Geno Smith for something useful now? Can you trade him, like, not something that you can use, but can you trade him for a pick? Can you get a second rounder for Geno Smith? Because I'll like this deal a lot better if you can.
And that's I think it I don't want to say it comes down to that, but I mean, I hate to say it, but Curtis Samuel in a start 11 is probably a guy you can play. I don't want to play Geno Smith. Like if I'm playing Geno Smith, I wonder why I made the trade in the first place. So I think that's Curtis Samuel. I don't want to say is worth a second easily, but I think in a trade, if I have him, I'm not trading him for any less. So I actually would take the Gabe side just slightly.
I agree. Just slightly. Okay. Thank you very much for the super chat, man. Okay. What else we got here, guys? How much time we got? 2 minutes. Yeah. 2 minutes until Scott.
We got another big one. I'm going to throw this one in here. This is another one we got starred.
12-team Superflex. Trade away Amon-Ra, Mike Williams, and the 24 second for Jamar Chase. Was that an overpay?
No.
This move is keeping me up at night.
This should not keep you up at night. This is why you have a bunch of assets, right? Because you want to go out there, and I didn't get to say it yet today. You go get the hammer. Jamar Chase is the hammer. You got the hammer. You used a bunch of little drill bits and muscled it up to a hammer. Like, yes, you done good. Don't be sad about that at all.
Not an overpay in the slightest. You agree too, right?
One more before Scott jumps off.
So Caesar, what are we gonna say? We're gonna say thank you. We're gonna say thank you for the super chat. 12-team Superflex. Justin Jefferson for 223 first and Jerry Jeudy. Might be able to get Walker or Dylan added to the Jeudy side.
It's a lot.
I mean, if you get Kenneth Walker added in,
that's a lot of first.
If you get Kenneth Walker added in, you are hitting you're crossing the 3+ first threshold probably.
Yeah.
If you assume Jeudy and Walker or Dylan combined is worth a first, which it probably is. So we don't know how many starters. If this is a start 9 or start 10, I'm not trading Jefferson. If it's a start 11, start 12, then that's where you start considering the 3 or 4 for 1. So I think that's the tiebreaker for me.
Yep. Thank you very much. And we'll throw in this last one here. We appreciate these super chats, but Scott is going to have to go, but we got to answer this, obviously. Max, 2023 first, 2023 second, and Garrett Wilson for Breece Hall.
Breece Hall.
I don't think so.
I'm overly committed to Breece Hall. That should be noted.
So I've got Breece in league with you. Let's
2.5+ first, man. For first of all, I think if you send Breece Hall out for this kind of package, there's 0% chance you're getting it accepted. So I think you got to go. If you want to get some Breece Hall shares gone, go to Shane.
You know what's terrible? The league that I have Breece Hall in with Shane, and you're in there too, Scott. Mine and Shane's team sucks. So like,
I'll still buy him.
You'll still buy him?
I'll still buy whatever. Next year happens.
Let me get your first. That's good process. All right, guys, we have to bounce. Hopefully you hit the like. If you didn't, please do so. We'd appreciate that. And we'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully, Saturday night? We doing Saturday night? Hope maybe, Shane, you're going to the Penn State game?
We'll see.
Potentially.
We'll see if I'm alive.
Everybody in here has to lobby Shane, be like, listen, put down the booze, get in the car, get in an Uber, and get on that live stream. So we'll try to pull it off. We'll see. But thank you, guys. You want to say anything?
No.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate everybody too.
Y'all.
Wednesday night, Saturday night, whatever it is, everyone shows up strong with great questions. So thank you.
And as always, we'll chat with you in the comments, and we love it when you guys answer or like help answer the comments as well, like chime in. You know, as a community, we love to answer everything too, but it's cool when we see us helping each other out. So take it easy. See you guys soon.
See ya
later.
Chill.
Scott's 2 minutes late.